Okay. Good evening, and welcome to the Thursday, October 23rd Palmer Town Council meeting. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Brad.
All right, so I'd like to introduce to the council two new staff members we had here. I'll first start with Ohemen Kiarmatan, and I apologize, Ohemen, if I butchered that last name. But Ohemen is the recreation director here. He's been over here just for about a month now. Came from the city of Hartford, and we're very excited for Ohemen to kind of bring a lot of the goals that we have talked about, and I know that I want to bring forward here in Palmer in terms of recreation. One of the things I'm excited about is, as you guys know, long-term planning of Burley Park, also bringing adult recreation programs here in town that we lack, and really just bringing the program itself forward. So feel free to take it.
Yeah, like Brad said, I'm here from the city of Hartford. I've been in the field of recreation my entire life. It's something that's very near and dear to my heart. One, I want to thank everyone in Palmer for welcoming me here. You know, it's been a great transition. Everyone's been very thoughtful, very supportive, so thank you for that. And also, I'm just very excited to work with all the youth groups, work with the schools, and try and get some things going.
Excellent.
Nice.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Excited. Can't wait to hear what you got planned up.
Well, we're
Up your
scheming up
sleeves.
some good stuff, buddy.
Yeah,
Nice.
one thing we are working on is we have a town-wide survey that we're going to send out soon. That survey is going to have a lot of information in terms of what the residents want to see, what everyone wants to do, what type of activities are they interested in. So once we get that data, we're going to, kind of make almost like a timeline of what recreation is going to look like in Palmer based off that information. And then we'll aim to do a follow-up one in the summer, so that way we can really have a kind of like a more like a fall model and then a summer model for how our department should look.
Nice.
But when that's all done and completed, I'll make sure we get the information to you guys, and then you can all share with your networks.
Awesome.
And just a
Thanks.
reminder to the council, we created the recreation subcommittee, who really has worked very close with me on the hiring process. I think we went through many rounds of interviews before we found Ohemen, and really created this kind of guideline of what we expect the next 6 months to year to look like in terms of programming. And also, too, another big thing I should mention is our goal is really to get a summer program here in town, whether it is a town run or we outsource and bring in the YMCA or some other company like that to get our kids active in the summer and have a program to go to. So something we're working towards.
Working with Pathfinder that already does it would be something too. Maybe they want to join in on
And
that. Yeah.
Palmer High, actually, it's not Palmer High specifically, but Palmer Schools runs in one as well.
There you go.
But again, there's gaps. There's kids that don't always can't pay and things like that. And I know the Y, for example, last year no one signed up, but I don't know if we did a good job marketing it. Personally, I just feel like we dropped the ball on that a little bit, of pushing the Y has the ability for us to send kids to Stony Brook, and they'll send a bus here in Palmer to pick up. So again, maximizing on that. If there's a voucher program that a family may qualify for, it just is a home run.
What's
And
Stony Brook,
it's in Wilbraham. It's a YMCA program that's run in Wilbraham. So think of Burley Park
right?
in Wilbraham.
Behind the Wilbraham Post Office.
Why
I'm
don't we
pretty sure
just
it's
have, like,
down there.
Burley Park in Palmer.
Long term,
Okay.
that's the goal.
I'm just saying, I know it was, when I was a kid, way back, it was like, if you wanted to take a bus, it costed like 50 cents to go up to Burley.
That was a long time ago.
They had, they had bow and arrows, BB guns,
And they do similar type of
arts
events.
and crafts, or you could just go wallow in the brooks. And, they did have swimming pools back then, which are now filled in. But yeah,
That's the goal. The goal is to get somewhere to similar of that program in-house here in Palmer. But again, that takes a lot of time and money to build out a building and things like that. So even if it's a starting point of the co-ops and working with other municipalities, it's a good start.
So, I had introduced myself this afternoon. I didn't realize you were coming tonight, but nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
And we talked briefly about, if you guys remember, for those that you were on the council at that point, we had met with Andrew previously, and we kind of did a brainstorming of, what the council was looking for different programs. This was, I think, before you
Before me, yeah.
also, yeah. And so I think once that survey gets done, and we talked about, once he's here a little bit, a couple more months maybe, we could maybe do a working session where we just kind of discussed what his thoughts were based on what he's figured out and between Brad and then the rec committee, and kind of come up with a plan of moving things forward. And I think the important thing is, it's not just all about the kids. So we want to offer a lot of different options for all age groups. So, but I
Let the
think,
kids use their imagination.
but no, welcome again, and look forward to hearing what you bring forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, the next new staff member is Ashley Place. Ashley is the first ever Director of Administrative Services here in Palmer. So I'm very excited for Ashley to help join my town manager team and really offer a quality product. If you guys have noticed, we've been pumping out information on our social media pages, which is, we're gonna continue to grow that. There's still more we can do. But Ashley has taken that on. In addition, we've also started a website redesign. That's gonna take a little time, but we're going through the website to clear out all dead links, clear out all old information, and again, bring us up to a standard, hopefully, maybe MMA website worthy.
Just gonna bring that up,
approval.
like, yeah.
We'll see. We don't want to set the
Submit it
bar
to
too
the
high here.
contest.
But we're excited for that, and I can already tell Ashley's going to be a good fit with not only me in the role, but also with other department heads. So, Ashley, I'll turn it over to you. And just so you guys know, Ashley's background was, her municipal background was she worked in the town of Ashland prior to coming to Palmer. So, feel free to take the floor.
Thanks, Brad. Hi, everybody. Hello. I'm very excited to join the team here and come back into municipal government. Like Brad said, I did most of my career in Ashland. I moved over from beginning my work in libraries and then went over to town hall as the communications and cultural events coordinator, just in time for the pandemic to really learn the ins and outs of all the different departments. Still have that niche for programming. Most recently, I was actually at the Metro West YMCA doing fundraising. So definitely can help lead the team with all of those things.
Great.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
He commented on it, but I do appreciate the variety of things that you're posting on the Facebook page.
Thank you.
One of the things that, I'm sure you've probably heard this during your interview, but it seems like a lot of times here, we do I shouldn't even say it, let me regroup. We do a very bad job of getting information out. And so, especially it seems that, one of the things that's said a lot is there's nothing happening here, there's nothing going on. And, I noted the other day, like, you posted some stuff that's going on at the library, not just for young kids, but, for teens also. And so I just think that that's important. I think that one of the things that would be really helpful if we could get other departments that have a Facebook page to start cross-posting. So same thing like with the fire department, like the Palmer Fire Department does a lot of postings, the police department, and so they can start cross-posting that stuff, because there's people that are, like those pages that maybe don't get the stuff directly from the town of Palmer, So just kind of think about those type of things too, but great job.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard, and, this is like, it's a new position, so I think we're all very anxious to see what it turns into, and I think we all have really high hopes for it, so you have a unique position, right? Because no one's had the job before, so you really have the ability to mold it into something, which is actually scary and exciting at the same time, probably. Yeah, but welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Just keep in mind that no matter how much you put out there, somebody will always say, well, I didn't hear about it. So and we've learned that over the time in the council, that there's just not pleasing everybody, but we try.
That was the first thing, what's her name? Mrs. Kennedy told me. Don't worry, you will not please everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't even try.
And if you
Well,
are,
we
then
try.
maybe-
It's impossible. Well, you can't. You can't. You try to do whatever you can do, but just realize that no matter what you do, you will never please everybody.
Well, thank you, Ashley. I now have your name.
Okay.
All right. Are you staying for the meeting, or are you?
Yes.
You are? Okay, perfect. All right, next is visitors' comments. We have no one here. Minutes, we have minutes of September 8th. Any comments or questions on those? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Jess, second by
Yep.
Bill? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We then have the meeting minutes of September 22nd. Comments or questions on those? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion by Jess, second by
Yep.
Bill. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is old business. We have one item, which is a vote on zoning ordinance 2026-01Z floodplain district, 171 to 68 revisions. And we probably aren't going to need you, Heidi, but hold tight. We've already had our public hearing, so are we all ready to vote on this? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Jess, second by
Oh, second.
Matt. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, next, new business. The first item is personal exemption study results and fiscal '26 recommendations. Rachel Carney, our principal assessor. And the floor is yours whenever you are ready.
All right. All right, so you all know my name. It's Rachel. I'm the principal assessor. I'm here tonight to discuss statutory exemptions. Statutory exemptions for the audience, anyone watching, are tax breaks that we give to qualified applicants, property owners. There's several different options available. There's a 41C, which is a $1,000 exemption for income and asset qualifying seniors that are over 70. We have the 17D exemption. That's $377.63. That's for surviving spouses, children, or asset qualifying seniors over 70. Then we have the 22 clauses. Those are for veterans, and there's several different options in that. Those options, exemptions range from $400 to a full exemption. And finally, we have a 37A, which is for legally blind property owners. Tonight, I'm here to discuss clauses 41C, 17D, and the 22 veterans. Okay. And next slide. So, in 2025, over the summer, myself and my staff did a study. We called 14 communities in the area, similar sized, some smaller, some large. It was kind of a mix, but local communities. The purpose of the study was to determine what other communities use as income and asset guidelines, and to determine applicants' eligibility for personal exemptions under Clause 17D and 41C. In the study, we also gathered the exemption amounts for each clause, and that we included the 22s as well. And then we also asked if any action to date had been taken on the newly passed HEROES Act in Massachusetts. So those were the basic things that the study gathered. So the results of the study for the 41Cs, you'll see that our income guidelines in Palmer were determined to be low when looking at the 14 other communities. So in the slide, you'll see we're at currently the 14,814 for an income limit for a single person, married 17,093. Study results below show that we're not the lowest, but we're definitely way lower than the average on both categories. So given that information, the recommendation is to bring our base income guidelines to the allowable minimum limit under Mass General Law to $20,000 and $30,000 for married. We already adopted the COLA increase, so what you'll see there is it ends up being $20,580 worth for single and $30,870 for married. And we are limited; we cannot go higher than the 20 or 30 because of the way the Mass General Law is written for 41C. Okay. Next.
Sorry to
Yep,
interrupt.
that's
So
okay, go ahead.
41C is which category?
That is the senior exemption for over 70, and they have to income and asset qualify.
Okay.
Okay. So the study also revealed that our asset limits were low, so, we're not, again, the lowest, but we're way, we're way below the minimum, the average. So we have 31,907 for single, $34,184 for married, and you'll see the average 40,000, 50,000. So, we're significantly lower. And again, we are limited by Mass General Law. We cannot go any higher than 40 for this one-time jump. We will be, from here forward, moving whatever the COLA is determined to be annually. So this will increase annually by the COLA. So we're really limited on what change we can make on that one.
So is their house considered an asset?
No, we don't count their personal residence against them.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So that was it for the 41Cs. 17Ds, I found a couple of concerning issues with. First, the asset limits. We've already exceeded, we never adopted a COLA increase for this, but for some reason we were at $45,582. So I'm assuming that a COLA had been applied at some point and brought us up beyond where we should be. So I need to correct that and bring it back down to the 40, which is the minimum. We have now adopted a COLA increase on that, so I will begin this year adopting. So this is not something we need to vote on, but we definitely had to correct it. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. But the other issue that we have is the exemption amount has far exceeded 100% of the original exemption amount. And if you look at surrounding communities, and I expanded this search far beyond the 14 communities, because once I noticed how far ahead of everyone we were, I think Boston was the only city I found that was higher than us. So we're granting considerable exemptions for the 17 Ds. And the point of this, the design of this particular clause is it's pretty easy to get it. So it's not meant to be high. It's meant to kind of be a supplement for somebody who is really close to qualifying for the other one but doesn't. So it's not meant to go higher. In 2022, we adopted a COLA increase on this one. So if we don't rescind that COLA increase, I'm going to have to keep increasing that amount. So tonight I am asking that we rescind that vote. And actually, we had 2 votes on the books because I think we were unaware of the first one. I found it. So we have 2 COLA increase votes that need to be rescinded. And that's going to be my recommendation for tonight. Okay.
And then after we rescind that, the amount would stay at 377.
Stay at 377.63. Yes. Yep. So originally I thought we might have to go back to the 350, but 17D was never written with that 100% clause. So I checked with the DOR, and all the other clauses have the 100% max.
Yep.
Except for 17D. So we don't have to roll back on the people that do get it now, and we're not that far ahead of it, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then finally, the HEROES Act. I was looking at this, and there's a couple different options that the HEROES Act now provides. But the 5C.5 to me seemed like a little better option because we do have one more clause that we have not looked at. I don't feel it's really up for review at this moment. It's the blind exemption, because they're not necessarily getting that exemption because of a financial need. But at least the law will be on the books here now, so if we decide we want to increase that, we don't have to go and adopt another clause. So the 5C.5 will do the exact same thing as I or J for 22, except that goes by the percent. So it really would mimic J, 22J, which is part of that new HEROES Act. So in lieu of doing that, and I found some other communities, that's what they have done. And it was a mix of what communities have adopted. So we've got, they're all over the place. Some are still discussing. Some already had the 5C.5. So we're kind of at that point, but my recommendation and the board's recommendation was to just do the 5C5. And with the 5C5, we're recommending doing 25% on the 22s over a 4-year span to get to the 100% increase. So that's how we were looking at. And if you look on the next slide, it breaks down kind of how that would work. So the first year, it would increase 25%, so the 400 would go to 5, the 1,000 would go to 1,250, and the next year it'd be 625, 1,562, till we finally get to the fourth year in 29, and that would be at 100% of increase over the original exemption. Next. And so lastly, with the recommendations that we have, there are some benefits. It's going to bring our income and asset limits in line with the HUD's determined poverty levels. These changes will make Palmer's exemption program, and I'm sorry, similar way words, consistent with our other communities' guidelines and offerings, and they'll help provide fair and meaningful tax relief to those who qualify. Impacts, state reimbursements do not increase, so if we increase, we're not going to get more money from the state. And the potential cost of just these changes is estimated around $55,000. It's impossible to know how many people will gain, so for enrollments, that's kind of a up in the air figure. But that's just the additional cost of making these changes. So
And then
that's
would
it.
that come out, that would come out of the overlay?
Overlay, yep. And we do have ample in there, so it's
Yeah.
not gonna cause like a impact immediately. I do have enough in there to cover this.
Any questions for Rachel?
Would have been my question, is quantify what would be the impact to the town if these changes and everybody took advantage of them? Because in your study, I'm assuming you now know roughly who's in that category.
I know who
right?
we have now, but I don't
Right.
know how many more we'll bring in, how
Got
many
it.
more would fit, yeah. I mean, we have said no to some people that were very close, so certainly I know they were gonna qualify, but there wasn't like a whole bunch of them.
Right. But that's, the thing is, because we're raising the income and asset level, she doesn't know what that's gonna do as far as people that
Right, now meet that
Now meet
criteria
it.
that,
Exactly, we
Exactly.
could open it to 200 more people,
Right.
or it could be
Exactly.
5.
And then now, every year, DOR puts out a bulletin that tells you what COLA to increase that by. So now it won't be frozen anymore. So that income and asset will continue to grow when we take all these votes every year.
Gotcha.
So Rachel will just, as her job as the principal assessor, will just apply that amount every year. There will be no need for the council to get involved again, unless there's some other exemption that comes along that
Or we're
the
feeling
board-
like
We're behind again.
we're too high or something,
Well, right.
something crazy, and then we
But
go in the
mean,
other direction, I don't.
I think that honestly, and that was my biggest thing about like where and I'm glad you reached out to DOR to, like, that we can only go to these certain numbers right now. I think that's important. So what we're basically doing is we're resetting. And then hopefully we keep up, because with that COLA every year, then we're keeping up with all the other communities. So yes, there might be some that are higher than us because they've been applying a COLA to a number longer than we, but we have to reset to the numbers she gave us. We can't go higher.
got it.
And that's how we move forward. And so we did, if you remember, probably in the spring, we all got an email from a resident that was concerned with the income and asset levels. And I had reached out to that resident and then started speaking to Brad and Rachel. And then, thank you, Rachel, for putting the time and effort into investigating all this. And, but we clearly took some votes at that meeting. I don't remember the date of the meeting that was referenced in the email we all received. But when I did go back and watch the recording, the town manager and the principal assessor at that point in time, which was not Rachel and was not Brad, were supposed to do some research of really what Rachel just did,
yeah.
and then come back to us with resetting those income and asset levels. And then because we had turnover, that never happened. So,
Gotcha.
but anyway, this is definitely, in my opinion, the right thing to do and puts us in line with other communities. And, you know, I think our levels were so low that we were not serving all the people that really need the assistance on their real estate taxes. So again, thank you. Did you have anything else? Or I'm just gonna, otherwise.
I have
I'm just-
nothing else, no.
Okay, I'm just gonna go to each of these and, did anybody have questions other than what we already talked about?
So
Thank
there's,
you for putting this all together.
yes, thank you. But there, the only concern that I have is that it's a fine balance between taking care of people and then losing tax revenue as a town, right? So we just need to be careful that, like you said, if it's too high and then we start losing tons of tax revenue because people need it, that's okay, I get it. But yet we still need to run the town and we still need the tax revenue. So, right.
But as Rachel said, this just puts us at the HUD levels,
Right.
the HUD poverty levels, so, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we're not.
We're
we're
definitely
yeah.
not going high here.
No, we're
Yeah, we're
not.
still below a lot of the averages that I've come up with. We can always freeze the COLA, remove that, rescind it, if, you know, something happens in the future where we feel that's necessary. I mean, there's
We'll get
always.
this year's data, then kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not
But
saying
we-
it's
yeah.
not a good thing.
No,
I'm
no,
saying it's
no.
a great thing.
Yes.
It's just,
It-
because we are not you know, we're not an expensive town. We don't, not everybody here makes, you know, $100,000. So I'm saying if we do this, it's great to help people, but on the other hand, we still need income to run the town. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, anything that we spend is going to disperse amongst all the taxpayers. Yeah.
It's good.
Okay, so the first resolution is Resolution 2026-07, which to see if the town of Palmer will approve adjusting the senior exemptions under Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 41C, as amended under Chapter 184, Section 51 of the Acts of 2002, gross receipt limits to $20,000 if single, $30,000 if married, to be effective for applicable exemption granted for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 1, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, we have Resolution 2026-08, which is to see if the town of Palmer will approve adjusting the senior exemptions under Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 41C, as amended under Chapter 184, Section 51 of the Acts of 2002, whole estate limits to $40,000 if single, $55,000 if married, to be effective for applicable exemptions granted for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 1, 2025. Do you have a motion?
Make a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is Resolution 2026-09, to see if the town of Palmer will approve, under Mass General Law, Chapter 4, Section 4B, to rescind the vote on June 2nd, 1997, Article 5, that accepted the provisions of Chapter 181, Section 1 of the Acts of 1995, which amended the Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, allowing an annual increase of 100% of the CPI in the exemption amount granted under Clause 17D to be effective for applicable exemptions granted for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 1, 2025.
I make a motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is Resolution 2026-10, to see if the town of Palmer will approve under Mass General Law, Chapter 4, Section 4B, to rescind the vote on June 13th, 2022, that accepted the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 17F, allowing an annual increase of 100% of the CPI in the exemption amount granted under Clause 17D to be effective for applicable exemptions granted for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 1, 2025.
Make a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2026-11, to see if the town of Palmer will approve the adoption, the local option under Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5C and a half, to be effective for applicable exemptions granted for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 1, 2025. Motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2026-12, to see if the town of Palmer will approve under Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5C and a half, an annual adjustment of 25% to the tax exemption amounts, but not to exceed 100% of the original tax exemption pursuant to Clause 22, 22A, 22B, 22C, 22D, 22E, 22F, 22G, to be effective for applicable exemptions granted for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 1st, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 2026-13. Nope.
It's separate. We're done.
Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you. Okay. Next is Resolution 2026-13. The purpose is to see if the town of Palmer will impose the local room occupancy excise under Mass General Law, Chapter 64G, Section 3A, at the rate of 6%. Brad?
Yep, so a little bit of back history on this. As you guys know, we're always looking to find revenue somewhere as we grow our budgets, and the tax base is really the one that picks up the majority of it. This was one thing that popped up that I saw Palmer had actually voted on previously. I know this was part of your packet. Looks like in 2010, we reviewed this, and it was tie vote 4-4, so it did not move forward. My request would be to adopt this. This translates not only to hotel motels, but also short-term rentals. So that's one thing that, if you read all the fine detail in here, they made that change, I think, back in 2019. So the average that we would take in is expected, very conservative DLS gave me, is $14,000 per year, which they said is super conservative. So as you guys know, we also feel like, too, a lot of the addresses that were on the list we got, there may be more out there than just what's on that list. So we'll work with DLS in classifying them and making sure that people who run a Vrbo, Airbnb, all are registered on this. So I can only imagine that $14,000 conservative number is going to increase significantly as we go on. Some people may say that this tax is going to scare people off from coming to your. I don't think so at all, personally. When you go through, I've stayed at Airbnbs before, the 6% you don't even see added in. It's not going to be a game changer for you to accept going to this spot and signing up for it or not. So my recommendation would be that we accept this. And just so you guys know why we're kind of rushing this, is we have a deadline. We have to vote this by December 1st to make it effective for January 1st.
Yeah, no, this makes total sense, and especially once, hopefully, a larger hotel decides to develop in Palmer someday, that is absolutely the expectation, that there's a room tax.
And if you look to a lot of the local municipalities, I know I gave you that list from DLS as well. Everyone's opting into it. Everyone who has a sizable hotel or a large scale, large volume of Airbnb rentals, they're all jumping into this because they realize the tax revenue you're missing out on is very beneficial.
Is this separate from an occupancy tax? It says excise, so I thought the language was wrong.
Room occupancy excise is just what they call it. So it's hotel.
But it is
room
an occupancy tax,
Occupancy tax.
a room tax, right, for
Yes.
occupancy tax.
Yes.
Like if you go to a town, different town,
So, yeah,
it could change, it could be
Right, and some,
variation.
when you on your bill, you'll see all these
Yeah.
different, if you stay at resort, there's a
Right.
resort
If
tax
you go to
and all.
Boston and you get a room,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you pay whatever, and
Yeah,
then
you get an
then they
occupancy fee.
steal another
Right.
$100 out of your pocket that you don't get to spend your own personal way in town.
You're staying at some nice hotels if you're paying $100 and,
I went to MMA once,
yeah.
and the money they robbed you for tax, now you can't spend that money at a local business. I just think this is more highway robbery of taking money from people, not letting them spend their money the way they want, just because you think you need more money. You know, everybody's constantly cutting their budgets and this and that. We add, and I just think it's just another form of robbing money from people.
I know.
It's not right.
The way that I look at
And,
it,
and you say, oh, we're gonna get this big hotel, so you're just taking money out of people's pocket that they wanted to go and spend. If it was $50, They could have went and maybe spent that at a local business. But no, they given it to, you're reaching into everyone's pocket even more. I'm totally against this. I think it's highway robbery.
Well, the way that I look at it is that, so we have folks from out of town who are coming to stay at these
I don't
properties
care
in
what planet
Palmer.
they're coming from.
But let me finish
Bill,
my
sorry.
thought,
Right,
is
okay.
that, okay, these people who are coming and staying in our rental, in whatever motel, hotel, Airbnb, et cetera, they may need a town service while they're here. They may have to dial 911, they may need, something within our community. And if they're just a, transient population, they're not contributing to the cost of those services that they may need while they're here. So that's the way that I look at
That's
it.
totally off the wall. We're all Americans. You go to whatever town and you need a police officer or something. So what, why don't we just start charging everybody for using something in a different town that you go to? This is, you can sugarcoat it however you want. It's just another way of thieving money from people.
Well, Phil, I understand that, and you're very consistent in your, in.
Yeah, you
feelings,
knew that
so
was coming.
I knew.
Yeah.
But again, this is something that is widely done.
You're taking
in-
money from
in other
someplace.
communities.
You
and-
say, oh, coming to our, you're not the one running that business. You're not the one that spent the money or is paying taxes on that B&B or the hotel or whatever. You just constantly just keep grabbing more money, grabbing more. We need more. Like the Beatles song, when the tax man comes, how much? More. It's all, it's ridiculous.
Are we the only local community that doesn't have one right now?
No, there's a few around us
No,
that.
no,
um,
but
Well,
At
yeah,
that
Hudson
point,
doesn't have a
I would
hotel, I
say,
mean-
well, my mother used to say, just because little Johnny jumps off the bridge, you're gonna jump off the bridge.
But the thing is that you think people are going to stay in Palmer because there's no room tax over somewhere else? That
I
doesn't.
really don't care.
Right.
You
I know.
know,
I'm just.
saying that, I dealt with it, and I had to room up with somebody just so I could have spending money to go around and eat supper in Boston. I'd never go there again.
Anybody?
I'll go to a campground and put a tent up first.
Anybody else? Do I have a motion to approve the local room occupancy tax at a rate of 6%?
I make a motion.
Motion by Chris, second by
Second.
Jess, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One of opposition.
I'm sure this wasn't even passed by any of the business people that know of
They're
this,
not
right?
paying, they don't pay it. It's
No,
the,
yeah, oh,
it's the person that stays
Oh,
there.
so
You
that makes
travel
it-
anywhere,
whatever.
and it's 18% in
Yeah,
most.
whatever. I don't
You
know.
go
Like
to
I said,
Florida,
can
you go to
sugarcoat it
anywhere.
however you want. You guys
It's 18% some places.
criminals.
Okay.
This last one keeps coming up.
Yeah, we got this kickback from the state to ask for one revision. Solely, I think the only change on it is a name change. If you remember, there was a Mexican restaurant that was proposed in Mule Friendly's building. So the address is the same. What they're recommending is rather than have the Mexican restaurant that is no longer coming listed, have it go to the ownership group. So that's the modification you see in
Such
this.
a shame. I was really hoping for that.
Pretty sure I mentioned that.
Bueno y sano.
Yeah.
Bueno y
Third,
sano.
so third time will be the charm. Hopefully this goes through. So do I have a motion to approve the amended language for House Bill 4282, an act authorizing the town of Palmer to grant 5 additional licenses for the sale of all alcoholic beverages?
I'll make a motion.
Sec- all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Just curious what the timeline is now because it's been a year now.
been
I
a
think
long
this has been
time.
out
I think
there.
it's
and
been more than
these
a year.
businesses, I think, are
I think
hoping
this,
that
this started before I got hired.
right,
Then we expanded it because it was only, I think, 2 licenses, then we added on 3.
right.
So I get it. And I know there was a push to look at, to petition the state to opt in where, I know Sturbridge opted into this, where it's unlimited licenses. So there has been a push that towns are trying to get the state to say, okay, we'll do a one-time sign-off again. Palmer should absolutely look at that if that's an option.
yes.
Because a business can't go through this. If you want to open your doors here, you can go in Sturbridge tomorrow, you have unlimited licenses, yet you have to wait a year and a half here. It's not a fair playing field.
Yeah, it's very prohibitive.
We already took the vote, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
all over.
I think that, I think that we should have Brad draft a letter to both Rep. Smola and Senator Oliveira, and explain to them really the situation that they're putting us in by needing the licenses to be site-specific, because I'm pretty sure that what's happening to us, and potentially really on that Friendly's building,
Yep.
is because the process didn't happen, and it takes so long through no fault of ours, people move on. They go somewhere else because, they're looking to make money. They're not looking to hold on.
Yep.
So I understand that it's the process and that it does have to be site-specific, but they really are tying our hands for economic development.
Yep.
So if you could draft something, well, if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah.
I do think that we should really go on record with them and see if there's anything that they can do. And I'm not necessarily talking about the one we have in front of us.
Right.
But for future ones, if there's anything that we can get, even if we had a couple, that we could just have, so that if something does move forward, we have it available when the opportunity arises.
Right, and our local commission obviously approved this, that's why it's at this level,
Correct.
right? So if
Yeah.
if it goes to our local commission, I don't think that it should be so prohibitive that we can't get businesses to go open while waiting for their license if it's already approved at the local level.
And just so, I think this is what we're looking at. We're looking for specifically
Non-site.
on premise.
Not, right, but not site-specific.
Correct, but on premise.
Like consumption, not
So
liquor
rest-
stores.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
not liquor stores, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll get something out.
Under new business, not for really discussion tonight, well, I guess maybe discussion tonight. So for the past several months, Brad has been, I'm sorry, I didn't speak to you about this beforehand, so I'm not trying to do a blind side, but, so for the past several months, Brad has been trying to get, a meeting together with the districts, to have some discussions regarding fire services, ambulance services. I have been approached by many people, and I have continually told them to be patient, and that we were really trying to put something together. And so, after many months, it just doesn't seem that that's going to happen. So, I guess, I don't want to put words into Brad's mouth, but I think, it was trying to be like not a posted public meeting, but just like a discussion that Brad was having, to kind of get the ball moving on different things that are important to the community, to have these discussions. So I would like for the council to agree to invite to a public meeting all the districts so that we can start having the discussion. And, last night, Palmer Fire District had another meeting to deal with it's really not it's not their fault, but there was some issues at their first meeting of things that they could not do, and they had to wait to close the books and then have free cash certified so that they could basically balance out their budget so that they can set the tax rate. And that created a lot of outrage, I guess is the word I would use, because this ambulance keeps coming up as far as people that live in Fire District 1, are not happy that they are footing the bill for the ambulance service. And while the town of Palmer as a whole is putting money forward, $132,000, I think, everyone that lives in town is paying towards that 132. But then Palmer Fire District Number 1 residents, who I happen to be one, for full disclosure, are also footing the bill for the ambulance service. And I think that we really have to all come together as a community, all the districts, and figure out a way to offer ambulance service. We are offering ambulance service, thankfully, through Palmer Fire District Number 1. And I think they're doing a great job, and I think they were put in a very bad situation as far as what happened and having to come up in full running, a full-time fire paramedic, well, we're almost to paramedic level, but ambulance service when they initially were only going to do, part-time. They were going to supplement something. And they quickly came up to full speed. And, it is, ambulance service is a costly proposition. I mean, you have to pay people. Ambulances are expensive. Equipment is expensive. Everything is expensive. And I really want to see the whole community come together and figure out a way so that everybody's paying towards this. And again, ambulances cost money. And the ambulances that the district has, they're older ambulances. And, I understand fully why that vote, this was at the last, I'm kind of bouncing around, but they were trying to get a new ambulance, the vote failed, okay? They had 2 ambulances. They're old. They needed repairs. I don't know what the situation, I don't know what the solution is, but I really want everyone to come to the table and try to find a solution. And it's frustrating to me, and I'm sure I'm going to, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it's like the time has to come where we all come to the table and we figure this out. And, the districts have to be involved. So I am imploring, I really hope that you guys will support this, but I'm really hopeful that the elected officials of the districts will come forward and we can all have a discussion and figure out the ambulance situation, the consolidation, if it ever is going to happen for the fire districts. And if it's not, I think that we just need to move forward. If the answer is absolutely not, then we need to move forward with some other means of what we're going to do. Because, I said this publicly at the first fire district meeting, but this has been this way. I've lived in this town my entire life, and everything is the same as it was from when I was in my 20s and paying attention to to now, right? And so it is frustrating. And, I think we've all kind of sat back for a very long time and hoped that things would work out and that everyone would come to the table. And it doesn't seem to matter who's on the town council. It doesn't matter who the town manager is. It doesn't matter who anyone, it's like, it's just not happening. And lots of people are reaching out to me frustrated. Lots of people are looking for the town council to do something. I have tried to explain over and over again that the districts are separate entities. They do not answer to us. But again, I am saying this because I was not able to do something. I promised people I was going to try to do something. It's not happening. So this is the next step that I'm going to request that I have backing from the council to have Brad reach out. I want to set a date for a meeting, see if we can get everybody in the same room, have a conversation. And then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But
You did say
need
that
to
Brad
know
already
that.
tried.
He
So,
did- he
so
did.
Brad tried, and what you're saying is that the districts failed to respond? Or did they respond and they just said
I
no?
wouldn't say it was a fail to respond. It was more or less it wasn't a let's meet tomorrow, like let's meet.
Right.
But I will be honest, I had conversation when I first started here with the 3 chiefs in the room and our police chief, and all were in agreement to look at it. But at the end of the day, too, it's not necessarily the chief's decision either.
It's not.
And that's where I think opening this up to bring in the prudential committees to have a larger discussion, I think is where the next step to take.
Yeah. And, ambulance service is obviously so important, right? So let's just take the fire districts out of it for a minute, the whole, what people want, consolidation of fire districts. I think that the ambulance service is a huge issue right now, right? Again, Palmer Fire District doing a great job, but they need money to be able to buy an ambulance, to do the things that need to be done so that they can, get in a vehicle and it goes.
And it can't be all on District 1.
And it can't be all
Right.
on District 1, and that's not right, that's not fair. And so, if we can't come up with a solution, I have other ideas, I'm not talking about them tonight, but the bottom line is, like, we gotta get this conversation going.
I'm going to add to that, only because I also heard that we reached out to the 4 districts because we had looked into the possibility of the sewer rates and using water rate data. And I'm not going to throw anybody out there because I know who said no, but one or more districts came back and said no, which would benefit people who are going to be paying on the tax for the sewer. That if you can change the rate by basing it off of water usage versus how the structure is now, there's potential for people in town to save money.
Correct.
Right? So, and that's another issue where the districts just don't want to play and it's hurting the residents.
And
And
the
it-
only way to change that is to get the residents fired up to have it put on like their annual meeting for a vote for them to have to.
Right, but that takes people in
You
the
know.
district to get involved and get the,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So,
what I'm saying.
but I think that we are not, we're taking the high road at the moment, but I think at some point, the council needs to start throwing names out there and start telling the people in the community that your district specifically is the one that's holding up change. That these are the people that you're voting for, and they are not doing their job by helping the community, they're just holding the community back. And I don't know if we're there yet. We're close, because I'm close to throwing people's names out there.
If I knew them, I would.
I know you would, in a heartbeat.
I think
But-
it's just
But
frustrating.
I think it is very
It's
frustrating for us, yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's more frustrating to know that people in town are suffering. And the district now, District 1, is technically footing the entire bill. I mean, the town is supplementing a little bit of startup money, which everybody is, contributed to. But other than that, the district should not have to, that one district should not have to fund the entire process. Right. I think it should be a stipend or something that goes out to all the districts that where everybody's got to chip in a little bit.
So, this is me speaking. I did not talk to Brad about this beforehand. I have not talked to any of the districts about it. This is not bashing the job that the people in
No,
the
they're doing an
district are
amazing job.
doing.
Correct.
And I want to be very clear on that, but it is very frustrating. It is very frustrating when people reach out to me and, what's going on? What are you doing? What's happening? And it's too long that literally I'm sorry, like I don't have answers. So, if we can try to set something up, I don't know if we can just talk very quickly about maybe some potential dates. So when Brad reaches out, he has some dates and see where it goes. And
I also want to add really quick that I'm very clear that it is not the solution either that every district has an ambulance, because that is not another solution.
no.
So that is even not even far, and I want to be totally clear that just because Palmer has an ambulance, that, the solution would be, why don't we have the other district get ambulances? That is not the issue here. We are not talking about that.
No, and to just piggyback on all of this conversation, there's this isn't like Palmer. We're not doing this on our own. There's already proven field studies and consultant studies that were done. South Hadley just merged their fire departments 2 or 3 years ago. Barnstable, who had I think 7 or 8 different districts in it, did the same thing. So we can hire an independent consultant if we want to come in, give us a report, which I think they already did back in mid
Years ago,
2000s.
it was Tate and Howard did a study. It was just Thorndike, Boswell, and Three Rivers that were involved in how to consolidate, and then because of politics and whatnot, I mean, let's face it, Thorndike, we rent, we pay for fire protection from Palmer. Thorndike is just I don't know the
In
proper
name
word.
only.
Yeah, you don't even have your own water supply. You just
It's
a
passed
troll.
through.
Quite frankly, no offense to we're trolls.
Well, and this is about, for me, it's working together for a solution. It's not about I'm not trying to put blame on anybody. I just am trying to move forward. I'm trying to be able to represent the people that I was elected to represent, which regardless of the fact that I am a district counselor, I feel that I have always represented everyone equally. And again, I hear loud and clear the issues and the frustration of members of this community. But we need the districts to be able to come forward and work with us to try to find a solution. And this is, as I've told people, this is not going to be an overnight fix. This is going to take a while. But I think the first step is, publicly asking that the districts be willing to come forward, to talk to us, and work together with us to come up with a solution.
Let's pick some dates
Yes,
and
I'm ready. I got my calendar.
time to end the fiefdoms in this
Yep.
town.
Yeah.
So what would work for you guys?
I'm assuming we're gonna have to use the police department training room, something bigger than this,
That or the library,
or the library,
we could find
the
something.
community room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
I'm just throwing it out there. If we're gonna have everybody there, it'll
Let's throw
be,
dates out.
yeah.
I mean, we're in November,
Yeah.
okay?
We had already spoken about, I saw the email about moving the town meeting. That's
Council,
not,
council will be on the 10th.
okay.
Okay.
How about the 17th?
I cannot.
Is there Veterans Day we have to deal with somewhere in there?
Veterans is
17th,
the
we were already
11th.
struggling to, 17th doesn't work for the majority of the council.
Yeah.
I'd say that one.
How about the 13th?
Is my calendar broken? Veterans Day is on the 11th, which is a Tuesday?
It's always the
always on
11th.
the
11th
Yeah,
day,
that's
11th
the,
year.
that's the only,
11th
that's the
hour.
only one that's always,
Oh, don't mind me then. I'm
That's
just a
okay.
little lost today.
that's okay.
It's like the 4th of July is always on the 4th.
That's why they come with that.
Kind of like Veterans Day is always on the 11th.
Gotcha.
Does
Thanks.
the 13th work for people?
Yeah.
Does that work for everybody?
November
It would
13th?
have to be like 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That interferes with the other thing. Brad, that's in my calendar.
For ordinance. And if it works for the council, then we gotta,
We'll work around that.
I think that's,
Yeah,
I
we'll
think
work around
that's
that. Yeah.
less,
do we want to pick an alternative date too?
yeah, I
just
want to
so
have
we
I want to have 2 dates, so,
I would say that, like, maybe a after Thanksgiving date.
So then you're into December.
As I say, Thanksgiving's this week.
Yeah, how about the 20th?
yeah, how about the 20th or the 18th?
Yeah, I think I could do the 20th.
The 20th works. 13th or the 20th?
Yeah.
All right, I will get that out.
No, both Stephanie and Tessa, you think?
See you.
Yeah, Stephanie and Tessa.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, thank you. And does anyone else have anything? Okay. Subcommittee reports. Anybody have anything to report? Town managers report.
All right, so we got a few things tonight. We have posted for the treasurer collector position, just for the council's acknowledgement. If we do go forward, and I do bring forward a treasurer collector as one position rather than two separate, we will need a council vote to approve the organizational change, so just so you guys are aware of that. We're still taking applicants for that position. DPW director posting is going out, either went out today or it's going out tomorrow. So I'll keep you guys in the loop of how that one goes. Work has started on the DIF district area. We will need council to approve the designated district at the meeting in November. So more to come on that. The town unfortunately did not receive the one-stop grant for the Thorndike Street sewer siphon replacement. We have a follow-up meeting to see where the grant fell short. And just a reminder, everyone, the estimated cost on that is between 6 to 8 million for the replacement.
So didn't we already?
We got
you
the
didn't get
we
it,
got the
and
design
then
money. We didn't get the construction money.
right, but I thought that we had applied, and then we fell short, and then we found out what happened, and then we went back, and that's when we got
Design.
something, the
Yep.
design.
Yep.
So now we just got to figure out where we fell short.
Exactly.
Okay.
And apply again. Now, that doesn't mean we're gonna get the grant money, obviously.
Right.
So that's where the DIF district kind of comes in play, that if we don't get that, we can funnel the money from the DIF and offset that expense. So, more to come on that. And I'll get the feedback and share it with you guys of where we fell short, unfortunately, on the grant. But with the grant too, just so everyone, it was never meant to be 100%. We only applied, I think, for 75% of the grant, just to make our application look better on paper, and they really want to see that town match. And even that, we fell short, but everyone's hurting for money. And I gotta imagine every year the grant application amounts grow. In discussion with Mass DOT and VHB, who VHB is our consultant for the Complete Streets grant, we had decided to push off the work that was scheduled. The pavement was going to be on Thorndike Street and Complete Streets. If you remember, we had a presentation last year. There's about 8 different areas in town. We decided to push that back to next year, mainly due to the area in front of Big Y. That was not included as part of the Complete Streets grant. So as you guys know, we were gonna change up a sheer street, so there was gonna be a crossover there and a sidewalk. that I believe ran along the entire Ocean State side, but it was gonna lead you to nothing in front of Big Y. So we signed with VHB to do the consulting work and engineering work in front of the Big Y to connect that to the McDonald's and connect us across that entire parcel. However, when we were going through, we thought it was gonna be easy. Of course, there's no recorded deed, there's no recorded easement. So that's why we have to go through that process now, get that surveying and everything we need done to be able to access that and put the sidewalk in. I gotta imagine Big Y is willing to work with us on that. They're gonna want the foot traffic in front. And it's a win-win for everyone because again, it's not really, in my mind, a complete street unless you extend that. Again, that gives you, it brings all the way down to High Street, all the way down to downtown with a connection for a sidewalk. So a big
yeah.
win for the, big win for the
Where,
town.
I know we put money, extra money, didn't we, in sidewalks this year?
We did.
But that was for.
But that doesn't.
Separate, totally
Okay,
separate
that's,
from.
I just wanna make sure, so
Yeah,
that
the
didn't have
core-
anything to do with the project.
Yeah, the core of the VHB and the Complete Streets is to make things ADA compliant. It was
Got
the
it.
big push.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
So is this next calendar year or next fiscal year?
I would
Well, maybe both.
maybe both, exactly. Yeah, we'll see how the deed goes and the easements. Notices have continued to be sent out to various addresses regarding unregistered motor vehicles. I know we had a resident that came in and voiced some concern about that. I will say the notice, along with a copy of the ordinance, has worked out very well for educational purposes. I haven't had to go through the entire process, which is great because it would be very time intensive on my part. Again, we just want compliance on this. We don't want to fine people. We don't want to go through a public hearing. So the notification has worked out well in that regard. And then the last piece, which is going to require an additional meeting for the council, is we have a vacancy on our planning board. And in the charter, it calls out that the council will have a joint meeting with the planning board and appoint someone. So I'll work through dates once I connect with the council, with the planning board a little bit to try to figure out what schedule works for that. But we're posting for the vacancy to have everyone submit an application or a letter of interest that we'll collect, and then we'll present all of the members to both Shelby Lamoth.
Step down from.
Step down, 'cause she moved
Okay.
out of town. Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
So again, they can function, I think, when I talked to Heidi today, they can function into early December without someone in the position, but the sooner, obviously, we get someone in there, the better.
Well, doesn't the charter have we have to do it within so many days?
60 days.
60
Yeah,
days,
okay.
yeah. Yep. Again, we want to beat that. We want to.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
And just so everyone knows, that vacancy only runs to the end of this fiscal year anyway. So it'll only be for a short window for an appointment, and then it'll be, it's an elected position, so someone will have to run.
So it'll
for
be on
this.
the ballot in the spring.
Exactly.
Correct.
Got it.
All right. That was it.
Any update on Converse?
Not that I'm ready to,
Okay, that's fine.
but we're getting close.
Okay.
We're
Anything
inching-
about
we're
the
at
school in
goal
Three
line.
Rivers? It's been condemned, right? It's got
I don't know if the sale has gone through yet, but to my knowledge, there was a purchase and sale,
like to a private, somebody going from the private owner now who owns it to
changing ownership to someone
changing
else.
ownership. Okay. Which could be a positive, hopefully. Awesome. Thank you.
Can only go up.
I got you.
Okay. Any questions for Brad?
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Miscellaneous correspondence, anyone?
No.
Counselors Roundtable? Okay, we're going to be adjourning from formal session. We're going to go into executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Number 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, for union negotiations with Palmer Police, NEPBA Local 071. I do declare, and again, we will not be returning to open session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Make a motion.
Second.
Roll call vote, Matt?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Jess? And I vote yes. Okay, good night.
Good night.